Saving money on energy costs is on everybody's mind these days. If utility costs are an important consideration when buying your next home, or if you plan on selling your home and would like to make it more marketable to the more energy-conscious buyer of today, call New Day Real Estate at 413-531-7129. As a member of the Green Resources Council, I can help you achieve those goals.
Okay. Well, there's 5 criteria for the program, and the first 2 are zoning related. And Doug Albertson, the town planner, is pretty confident that you either meet them already or that there's minor changes that need to be made to meet them. So the first one is to have by right zoning for either clean energy generation, which is the preference, so that we can move forward in the generation of clean energy in the state. But if you can't achieve that, then by right for research and development or manufacturing that's related to clean energy generation. So that's the first criteria. And then the second one is that within that by right area, you need to have an expedited permitting, which says it won't take more than a year for the project to go forward from when the developer submits their plans, that you will process them within a year. And again, that's not a concern for Belchertown. So those 2 criteria, the town planner, again, feels confident can be met. The third criteria is the one that you were just talking about, which is the baseline inventory of your energy use in your buildings, your streetlights, and your municipal fleet. So you need to document that through a system, and the state is going to make software available in the next couple of months to do that. That would go directly from the utility into the software, so that would be the easiest thing to wait for that. But alternatively, you can use EPA Energy Star Portfolio Manager, you can use ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, their clean air and climate protection software, or you can create your own Excel spreadsheet or whatever spreadsheet system you want to use. So you have to have a baseline, and then you have to have a plan to reduce the use by 20% within 5 years. And the Department of Energy Resources is producing templates for all of these things to try and make it as easy as possible for municipalities to meet the criteria. So there is a template for the plan. It would be very easy to plug in the measures. And then criteria 4 relates to actually the achievement of the 20% reduction, because criteria 4 is that you have to adopt a policy. And so this would be an action of the select board that you will commit to purchase only fuel-efficient vehicles where they're available in the future. That doesn't mean that you have to go back and get rid of all your car fleet that you have now. It's for future purchases that they would be only fuel-efficient vehicles. And again, the state has prepared a spreadsheet that explains what they are. And police vehicles are exempt, as are the larger DPW vehicles. So it shouldn't be a hurdle. And so again, obviously, once you adopt that policy, that could go into your plan for criteria 3 in terms of reducing the energy use in your fleet. And then the 5th criteria is to adopt the stretch code, which is just what it sounds like. It's a code that will stretch the building requirements in Belchertown from the Board of Building Regulations and Standards. So instead of having this current standard, you're stretching and making it a little bit more energy efficient. The projection is that it will make an average house 30% more energy efficient than if it was built according to the standard code. And so you have to adopt that, which again would be an act of the select board. You also have to hold a public hearing before you adopt it. And so those are the 5 criteria. And again, we met with most of the town staff a couple weeks ago. 1 and 2, not an issue. The baseline, Steve has a very good handle on it, but could use some help just organizing the data and then plugging it into the template for the reduction plan. The fuel efficient policy doesn't seem to be an issue, so then there's the education for the stretch code. And so that's something that the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission could help with. Sort of what a lot of the communities are doing is the first effort to have the building inspector get on board. Obviously, the building inspector's on board because you all have requested the free planning assistance, which you wouldn't have done if you weren't willing to commit to the 5 criteria. So now we could have a meeting with area builders to make sure that they're on board, and if they have any concerns, do it as a very much of a one-on-one. Just tell us everything that you're worried about, and we'll give you all the information that we have about the stretch code. And then do the public hearing, maybe an informal public hearing, or maybe a formal public meeting, and then take it to vote. And again, as far as the stretch code goes, East Long Meadow, the building inspector is very excited about it, and the select board is pretty excited about it, and they're likely to have a vote on it in 2.5 weeks. And so if one of our communities has adopted it, I think it'll be much easier for all the other communities to feel like it's not that scary. And interestingly enough, the communities that requested the free planning assistance are all contiguous in this weird little line. So it's East Hampton, Northampton, Hadley, Holyoke, Springfield, Ludlow, and Palmer, and Belchertown. So you all do have a shared border. So if people say, well, what are our neighboring communities going to do? You can say, well, at least one of them has already also agreed to adopt the stretch code. So, and again, what everybody says is that in a couple of years, the stretch code will become the base. So it's kind of like the Community Preservation Act. If you opt in now, you're eligible to apply for a portion of the $14 million that's available. If you don't, you lose out.
But one thing you just said is very important. It is going to be mandatory relatively soon.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to happen, but so getting, like you said, getting involved with all 5 of those criteria is definitely to our advantage. Seeing that
Right.
the stretch code alone is going to happen anyway.
And it's an all or nothing. If you don't do all 5, you're not eligible to apply for the money. So.
Right.
And again, obviously, the select board is already committed to adopt all 5, so it shouldn't be a... So whatever we can do to help, I was explaining before that the Department of Energy Resources is offering this free technical assistance. They pre-approved 6 different consulting companies around the Commonwealth that are providing the service. The Pioneer Valley Planning Commission is privileged to be the one providing the services to our member communities. And it's really whatever you need that you can already do, which obviously, again, you guys are extremely knowledgeable. Your staff are very on top of it all. So it's really whatever we can do to help you get there. And the Commonwealth, as you all know, is likely to call for the applications in winter, is what they've said. So we're thinking sometime in January. So the sooner the better, because again, you want to be ready to get certified and then be able to apply for the money as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The timeline is going to be very quick.
Yeah.
And we do need to keep it moving. So
Right.
we don't want to be at the bottom of your list
Right, exactly.
of towns that you're working with. So, but every town is telling you that, I'm sure.
Well, we only have 9, so it's not, I mean, surprisingly, only 9 of our 43 communities asked for the free assistance. So we would like to get everybody, we'd like to have our 9 obviously be the first 9 that get
You mentioned monies that the town could apply for if we meet the 5 criteria. Can you
Right.
talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and again, I'm sure Rob knows more than I do, but it was approximately $14 million that Massachusetts got by participating in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, the RGGI auction that the northeastern states and northeastern Canadian provinces participate in. And as I understand it, a couple million has gone to hire all the wonderful new people at the Department of Energy Resources and create the Green Communities Division. And now there's about $12 million left to fund municipal projects that take the communities, to make them even greener. So the state is being deliberately vague about what projects would be eligible, but clearly it would be energy conservation and clean energy generation. And they're looking for innovative projects, and they don't expect to have a lot of communities meet the criteria. The hope is that they can give significant chunks of money to a small group of communities to see really big, dramatic things happen. And the decision to provide the planning assistance was based on the fact that they did a request for information in the spring, and nobody came back and said, we meet the criteria now, we're ready. And they didn't want to launch the program with nobody meeting the criteria, so they decided to spend a little bit of the money on the planning assistance to, get people over the hump. But again, the hope is that it's tough criteria, so not all the 351 will meet it, but that enough will, that we'll actually see some significant progress in clean energy generation in the Commonwealth.
Great.
Significant amount of money for probably a small audience.
And an annual allocation, so it's going to, theoretically, it should be 12 million every year, so it's not going to be a one-time thing, because we get the money, and the money is very well protected. It can't be used for anything else. It can't be used to, help with all the other financial problems that the Commonwealth is facing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Really good.
It was great that as soon as he got into office, Governor Patrick signed on to Reggie.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but
big benefit.
we're seeing some of the benefits of it. There's one of them.
Right.
Absolutely.